Well, let's start at the beginning. It's the camera angle is crap. The audio isn't going to be good. This thing here, man, it's crazy. I got the typewriter here. And now, oh, there's something in the way of the typewriter, so you can't see it. Let me get this off here. What is this anyway? It's a book. Industrial Society and Its Future by Theodore John Kaczynski. Crazy guy. Had a couple of good ideas. For some reason he thought, well, this industrial society keeps moving. We're going to be controlled by a bunch of weird technocrats who pick our presidents, no matter who we vote for. What a nut. That was long ago. Don't worry about that. Right. And, okay. Let's turn back the clock. This filthy little fella was the very first typewriter I ever bought. I know it's going to be kind of zoomed in because of the way this thing is set up. You don't know how hard I tried to get this to work properly. Okay, let's go back to 1988. And then I was a idealistic young man, full of hope and dreams of someday becoming a famous author. Well, look at me now, huh? Ma, top of the world. However, I was working at an Arby's and didn't have a lot of money. Living on my own, I know I had a bicycle. I was getting back and forth. It was a humiliating time. However, I visited an used office supply place in Lufkin, Texas, where I lived, about a half a mile from where I lived. And I saw this beauty. Now, I'd never owned a typewriter. I'd used them, of course. I took typing in school, and my family had owned typewriters, but I never had my own. And so this baby, a Sears Signature 510, of course, no, Montgomery-Ward Signature. That's an important thing. Now, I paid like $80 for this. I didn't have the whole $80 either. I had to put it on layaway at this office place. 2 payments. And when I had paid it off and was going to pick it up, I was like, how the hell do I get this thing home? I want a bicycle. Nope, so I walked over there from where I lived, which, not even half a mile. And then I walked back lugging this beast, this monster. But that's how you got typewriters back then. We didn't have the fancy, I guess they did have Best Buy, but they weren't here. And they didn't have typewriters. Maybe they did then. I don't know. Not the point. Anyway, got this thing home. Started typing on it. It's got a strange font. We'll know if I get this thing working. I'll show you the font. However, I used this typewriter for years. Up until the mid-90s when I discovered the internet. That was a mistake. Let me tell you, we should have stayed in the caves, in our man caves, with no electricity. You had to, you can't worry about technology. You can't use it. I gave up the typewriter, this typewriter. I was doing like a Christopher Walken speech about me putting this typewriter in my ass. Well, it's not going to get to that. Okay, that didn't happen. Now, early 90s, I was writing and making my own stuff, but I became a publisher, and I started publishing zines, which are little handcrafted magazines that were once popular before the internet destroyed everything and ruined all our lives. Now, I did a lot of work on this typewriter using in zines, okay? Like this one, 1994. I released this. Of course, some of it's handwritten, but the typewriter had a unique typeface, so I was using that as well. Okay, and this was my centerpiece for my first issue. Okay, this copyright nightmare here, which wouldn't go over well on the internet now because it was taken from a coverless issue of a Command Last Boy on Earth that I had, and so I took it and I made the amusing captions and changed the lettering and somewhat altered the art, and I published this on February 6, 1994. Now I didn't have the internet then. As it turns out, February 6, 1994 was the day that Jack Kirby died. Didn't know it. However, Jack Kirby, the artist of Command Last Boy on Earth, it was irony. And ironic was a popular song at the time, and it's true irony, not fake Alanis Morissette irony. There were other issues of Smite I did, like this was issue 2, and it was heavy on that typewriter face. Did a lot of that. Anyway, this was back in the day. But this typewriter I used up until it's 94, mid-94, when I bought a word processor, although not really. It was the kind that had the square little screen like this, and you typed up the words, and it typed out like a typewriter on a daisy wheel printer. It was very loud, extremely loud, ungodly loud. Woke up everyone in the house. And they deserved it anyway. They shouldn't have been sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning. What were they doing? That lasted a while. And I moved to a computer in 1995. I bought a Packard Bell 386 computer. And there I went off to the internet. Biggest mistake of my existence. Should have stuck with the typewriter. This typewriter. And the typeface is unique. It's like, I showed you that. It's an italic typeface. But the capital, it's all capital letters, but the small letters are small capitals, and the big letters are big capitals. And it's weird. So this thing, I haven't typed on this thing probably since 1994. And it became property of my mother. And so I dug it out of her stuff. And she doesn't use it anymore. She's got a computer. And I've got a computer. I've had several computers since then. But it's the little rubber things are gone, and the ribbon looks like crap. And it's really, really dirty. Now this ribbon, this is terrible. This is the worst. So if you can see that, that is no bueno. That is not good. So I put this, I grabbed this ribbon, which is probably a little dried out, off of this other brother. And this was, although sold by Montgomery-Ward, it was a brother typewriter made in Japanland and by the Japanese, who paid their workers. Not they weren't child slaves like allegedly in China. And China still makes typewriters, but they're utter garbage. If you ever been to the this Hobby Lobbies or that other craft place where they would sell these plastic pieces of junk for about $150, and they are allegedly typewriters, but they're trash. They look good. They're very cute. What Michael's? That's the name of that place. Now I'll tell you about this thing, and I'll leave the lid off as a tribute to a man who, before his time, Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski had, I believe it was the same model, the Montgomery-Ward Signature, and he would type these little letters out very prolifically. Some would say he had concepts and ideas far and above normal men. And he saw it coming. He saw the internet revolution, and he moved off into his little cabin and sent out happy little bombs to people. I don't necessarily approve of that methodology, but it seemed to work for him. It made him happy. And this ribbon may be dried out, and I don't know, seriously, if this thing will even type. It's it'll type, because these things will last forever. But it's not my typewriter anymore. This thing belongs to my mother, to my family, to the universe. It's not in my official count of typewriters, which I don't know what that count is. I'm going to type the standard sentence, which I have modified. Now, I don't know if this will work. It barely types. Let's see. Let's make backspace. Oh, ooh, that doesn't work. Very red. Well, that's garbage. Now, this is the standard sentence, which people say these days. They say, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And I say, that sentence is wrong. It doesn't flow properly. You've got the modifier with the fox. You're talking about him. He's quick. He's brown. And the dog is just lazy? No. You want to compare and contrast the quick brown fox and the dog. Well, the dog is lazy. No, he's slow and lazy because of quick and brown. Now, you could say, oh, well, he's a slow yellow dog. Well, I think that's taking it too far. We know he's lazy, and we assume he's slow. Maybe he's mentally impaired. I don't have that information. And I get canceled if I said anything to the contrary. But we know he's there and he's being jumped over. And that's all we really know. And this ribbon, which I stole out of a brother somewhere, it's not really up to peak. But you get the idea of the italics, and it's an odd typeface. And I have probably 78 typewriters, and I don't have another one with that typeface. That's the only thing that really distinguishes this, other than the fact I paid more for this typewriter at $80 than for any other typewriter I've ever owned. I've got typewriters made in 1934. I have a typewriter from Germany. from 1930, 31, and it didn't cost 80 bucks. So, what's the dang deal? Well, typewriters cost less now because they're less important. Well, this is not, of course, I can't find out the model of Ted Kaczynski's typewriter, I believe it's a Montgomery-Ward Signature, but I don't know. They took out 2 or 3 typewriters from his place, and I know that his letters weren't sent in that strange typeface, but you can get different typefaces for him. That's not an issue. Thing about his typewriter, look, I got some springs missing, is when they found his typewriter, it was completely stripped. It was just really the cage and the keyboard and parts of the carriage that you needed for it to function. And they said, why is this typewriter like that? Where's his ribbon cover, that metal ribbon cover? And they said, obviously, he built a bomb out of it. He used it as pieces to make his bomb. The thing about typewriters is, so useful. If you're resourceful, you can do many things with them. That's all. I'm not saying I would blow anybody up. Of course not. Look, this ribbon cover is right here. I didn't use it to make a bomb. But, yeah, just in case. That went to strange places. Anyway, I don't know what to do with old ribbons. You just throw them away? I don't think, well, this has mold and stuff on it. I don't know that there's any way to recycle them or to continue them, because it's maybe a cloth ribbon you could do something with. I don't know. We'll look into that. Anyway, this is the first of many typewriters. I have so many. I don't know what I could shake a cat at them. That's how many I have. Is that how that goes? Anyway, we will, I'll continue this. I'll find a time, if I ever get another day off, and we'll make videos out of the next typewriter. Deal? I shouldn't wait for you to answer, huh? You're not there. Okay. Well, therefore, this typewriter video faithfully submitted this March 10th, 2021, I believe the year is. And hit the smash and subscribe and click up and approve. I don't care what you do. It's whatever. Live your life. See you later.